Hello and welcome back to Road and Load. We're here with Kieran Smith again from Driver Require. Just remembering you can get in touch with us for any of our videos, any of our podcasts, get us on social media channels. You can pop your comments in the comments section below. We do love to hear from you. If you've got any questions, thoughts, feelings, feedback, do just give us a shout. So as I said, back here with Kieran Smith, CEO of Driver Require. And today we are talking about types of driving for beginners. So Kieran, again, as we always start, I've just got into the industry. What jobs are available to me?
Right. It depends on your age, and this is one of the issues that we have in our sector in the HGV, heavy goods vehicle driving sector, which is that you certainly can't do it from the age of 16, for example. So when you're 18, you're able to get what's called essentially a 7.5 ton license, and then you could go for your main license. But most companies won't want to take you on until you're heading towards 21, because that's when most of the insurance policies will kick in and actually cover you. So there's a lot of constraints out there from the insurance perspective. So essentially, if you want to get into large goods vehicle driving, your best option is to, if you're young, is to start either in the warehouse or as a van driver, and then work with your employer to determine when they would be willing to either sponsor you through or subsidize you through your license acquisition for a larger goods vehicle, and then move towards that. Jumping straight into a 45-ton articulated truck can be quite an intimidating thing, as you can imagine. You know, it's not the sort of thing you're going to feel very comfortable taking through the centre of a town or into London. So, you know, that's something you really need to get used to. And one of the things that you need to realise is that these things are not just hulking great sort of crude machines. They are like aircraft cockpits. You know, when you get into them, they've got a lot of technology in there. They're beautifully set up. They're very ergonomic. They've got all the dials and dashes and flashing buttons and beeps and, you know, automatic gear systems, automated brakes, auto sensing of proximity to other vehicles, lane change, pretty much anything you're going to have in a top level luxury car. So, you know, you don't just jump into one of these. One of the interesting things about learning to drive is that, you know, first of all, you learn the basics of driving, but then you start to learn, you know, the more intuitive elements of it. Once you've got those mastered, you can start to become an advanced driver in terms of, I wouldn't say multitasking, but being able to deal with multiple inputs to be more effective in terms of positioning yourself, hazard perception as you approach roundabouts or crossings or pedestrian crossings and so on. And the thing about learning to drive is that you need to learn a lot more. When you're driving a lorry, you need to learn about tachograph regulations and tachographs, which monitor you while you're driving through the day. They monitor what you're doing in terms of work, driving, rest periods, and so on. You need to manage your own working time. And so there's a lot that you need to be in control of. And then you've got the whole interaction when you get to customer depots. You're not sure about where to park, how to queue up, where to go. So there's all sorts of complexity. So to answer that, I mean, this is a long answer to a short question. But essentially, you know, start sensibly. Don't get over ambitious. I mean, what we tend to find is that when people come into want to go driving, they sort of go, all right, I want to go straight for the end goal, which is to get straight into an articulated 45-ton truck. And then they find that that's one, very, very difficult, totally overwhelming, and third, maybe not what they wanted to do in the first place. So far, far better to take it gently and get a proper understanding of what it's all about. In the old days, and I talk about 30 years ago, it was perfectly reasonable for someone to get in a truck with their father or their grandfather and go out and experience what it was like. And the romanticism of going on a trip to Spain to go pick up a load and come back through France was magnetic. People would do that, and then they would realize they wanted to do it. These days, you can't do that. So you very, very rarely get the opportunity to go and sit in a truck with a driver and have that experience of what it's really like. And so your only real opportunity is to start small and work your way up, and be given those rare opportunities through your work to go out as a driver's mate, for example, helping load, unload at different locations and that sort of idea, and then work out if this is something you want to do. It's quite a unique role, driving. People think of it as being very sociable, but you're actually on your own in the cab with yourself as company to a very large degree for most of your working day. So it suits people who don't want a great deal of human interaction, actually, more so than people who want to be interacting with people all the time. Even if you're going to go into multi-drop van delivery work, one of the key attributes of a great van delivery driver is that they don't talk very much. Because if you talk to every client on 100 drops and you spend 30 seconds talking to every client, you've just used up an extra couple of hours of your time. And you can't do that. You can't do it. Yeah. So actually, it's really interesting. Yeah. It's about getting to know what you want to do and why you want to do it, and testing it out. So as I say, start in a logistics warehouse or driving a van, and then work your way up.
And obviously with the haulage industry and logistics in general, there are lots of technical roles, maybe based in office, kind of working out how this behemoth works coherently and cohesively. What about for people who kind of see themselves as more of an organizer or someone like that, not necessarily long-term as a driver? What are the routes for them?
Well, we deal really only with the transport side of it, so that's probably where I should stick to, because otherwise I'm outside of my area of expertise. But certainly transport, clerical jobs, supervisors, it's a 24-hour operation generally, so people do tend to work in 12-hour shifts, doing 4 12-hour shifts a week, for example, and that's a desk-based role. But it's interesting because you might be behind the desk, but you're also going out into the yard, you're helping to induct new drivers and new staff, you're working with the shunters out in the yard to make sure that everything is moved around according to where it needs to be. You're dealing with all sorts of challenges and issues. Your drivers get caught in traffic jams, they have accidents, they can't find customers get upset about stuff, or conversely want to ring you up to praise your driver. It's a very varied role, and to be honest, one that I think is very interesting. But to be fair, if you want to earn more, you go out driving, because the drivers get paid a better salary generally as a rule.
And just finally, Kieran, Beth, who hosts the podcast alongside myself and Louise, she loves her rock music. So she wants to know, if she wanted to be a driver on a tour bus, what should she do to get to that end goal?
On a tour bus? Well, I tell you what, you could certainly become an events HGV driver. You get these beautiful tour trailers with all the fairings and the Go Faster stripes and the Ed Sheeran sticker on the back, or whatever it is that you're going out doing. And actually, those are very much the prestige roles. So we do these jobs for some of our clients. So the two that really stand out are the concert tours, because you essentially become a groupie. And the other one is to do the car racing, so the F1 or the rally tours, and those are brilliant. You end up working in the pit lane, sort of actually working with the crews in a limited capacity, because you're not trained. Wow. But it is fantastic, and you get access to areas that you wouldn't normally have. But you also need to be a very good driver, because those vehicles, those trailers with, as I said, they've got all the fairings and stuff on them. They look brilliant. They are immaculately clean, undamaged. If you can't scratch those things, because you get into serious trouble. So you need to be a very good driver. Yeah. That's
amazing. Thank you very much, Kieran. There you go, Beth. You'll be ferrying Metallica around before you know it. Look, if you've got any questions as well, please do get in touch with us. Social media is always the best way to do it, or pop a comment below the video here. Thank you very much to Kieran again. We've got loads more videos with Kieran and other experts. Just make sure you check out Road and Load channel.